Good afternoon, all. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ନମସ୍କାର। ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ନମସ୍କାର। Just a minute. Okay. Sorry, there is some technical glitch. So, welcome to this session regarding career in banking profession. So, my dear friends, my ALC coordinator, learning facilitator, and my dear learners across the state of Odisha. So, जेमती आमे आपण मानकु कहितलु OKCL तरफरु प्रत्येक शनिवार दिन आपण मानकर पिला मानकर कैरियर बा जो पिला मान अछन से मानकर कैरियर को नेकी आमे डिफरेंट इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक नेकी आसीबु बहुत फेमस एक्सपर्ट मानक द्वारा तेणु से भली भाव में जो प्रोग्राम आमे डिसाइड करूछु डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से एसोसिएशन नहीं करबा चाहूछु। दिस इज द फर्स्ट प्रोग्राम वी आर लॉन्चिंग टुडे इन एसोसिएशन विथ रोटरी क्लब ऑफ भुवनेश्वर कलिंगा एंड आम संगर आमे गोटे स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक विषय डिस्कशन करूछन कैरियर इन बैंकिंग प्रोफेशन पाथवेज प्रिपरेशन एंड प्रोग्रेशन। आम संगरे जे आज गेस्ट अछंती जे आज स्पीकर अछंती बहुत एक्सपीरियंस्ड पर्सन जने अछंती जे के होचंती इंडिया रो वन ऑफ द प्रीमियर यूनिवर्सिटी जेएनयू रो अल्मुनाई अछंती एंड तांकर परिचय होची से ओडिसा रो एंड इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग होची से जने बहुत भलो बैंकर बहुत फेमस बैंकर से थिले हमर फॉर्मर जनरल मैनेजर of Reserve Bank of India and she officer in charge of RBI Odisha and as well as Sikkim रवि थेतिले तो तांका पाखर फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस अछि बैंकिंग कैरियर विषय रे केमती से कैरियर को आपण जाई परिबे जिबार बाटो कोन केमती आपण कैरियर भलो होई परिबो केमती प्रोग्रेशन करि परिबो। सो एटा रियली वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कैरियर डेफिनेटली आम मानक मन भितर बहुत गुडे थाए बैंकिंग माने वेरी टेंशन स्ट्रेसफुल time consuming so many things are but no that is very enjoyable career banking रे अछि and definite career अछि कैरियर अपन स्ट्रेंथन हे परिबो सिक्योर हे परिबो एंड बहुत सहज रे अपन प्रोसेस जदी फॉलो करिवे सहज रे से कैरियर टाको जाई परिबे तेनु जेते पार्टिसिपेंट्स अछंती डिफरेंट एएलसी रू मोर ऑथराइज्ड लर्निंग सेंटर रू किछि पब्लिक भी हमर नेटवर्क बाहर से माने भी देखुतिबे लर्निंग फैसिलिटेटर अछंती स्टूडेंट माने अछंती समस्त पई दिस सेशन विल डेफिनेटली भल रहिबो यूजफुल रहिबो तेनु लेट मी वेलकम our today's speaker Shri Manabendra Misra, who was the GM, former general manager of RBI, and also again I am repeating he was officer in charge Odisha and Sikkim of RBI. So please welcome Sir Manabendra Misra sir, and please join with him for next 1 hour to gain enough knowledge about the career in banking. Thank you, sir, for joining with us. Please proceed for your discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushant. Welcome, my dear young friends from different corners of Odisha. It's slightly drizzling here. I hope you are enjoying slight rains over there also. It was very hot in the morning. So this 1 hour will be enjoyable because I have a lot of things to learn from then next. You represent the future of India. Since I'm a senior banker, I was a retired person and a senior citizen. A lot of things I want to learn from you. I will share my experience of 37 years in RBI, a couple of years in government of Chhattisgarh, out of which 5 years as a trainer to the RBI officers. And also 1 year I spent for system study and operational training in State Bank of India. So I'm sure with this, my larger exposure to government and banker and as a regulator and also institution dispensing maximum varieties and quantity of customer service all over the India, that is State Bank of India. All this experience will bear upon me to convince you why you should choose banking as a career. But you have to first know some concepts about banking, how the profession grows, how you can equip yourself to enter and grow in that organization and be satisfied and meet all the aspirations of your own family, the country, society, and your friends. It's a very tough task, but I'll try to present it in a concise way within 1 hour. This PowerPoint is in English, but I'll explain in your mother tongue to the extent possible. Don't get too much burdened or excited about the terminology. You can just watch it, try to understand its meaning. Don't try to remember it or jot down or be clear about it. In due course, as you prepare for these exams, it will be clearer. Let us have some proper perspective. What are the advantages of banking? What banks, as an institution, they do all about, and how best to enter it, grow there, and be happy about the profession which you have chosen. Okay. So you join me on this journey to explore the dynamic world of banking in India. Banking टा टिके बाहर लोगों पे टेक्निकल लगे गुडे काने जेतु एटा स्ट्रक्चर्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पैसा पत्र विषय डील करछि सब जिनस भारी रिस्की तुम तार रूल्स रेगुलेशन सब भारी वेल लेट डाउन से तेरे विशेष डिस्कशन नता है तुम विभिन्न प्रकार टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज करा जाए एवं कहीं की बैंकिंग टा एते कॉम्प्लिकेटेड मुझे बुझे देबे टिके पारे तेणु ये टर्म बाय इंग्लिश वर्ड ए विषय ने बेसी चिंतित हो तमे विशेष विचलित होबनी एको खाली सुनी बुझिया चेष्टा कर आस्ते आस्ते जिनसोडा क्लियर हो जिवो Let's look at banking as a profession. Bank कौन करते? It deals with money. टंका. Money is fungible. Fungible is something which can change its shape by many things, reconverted with retaining its original value. टंका कैश आकर हो, बैंक बैलेंस हो, अकाउंट बैलेंस हो, विभिन्न समय it is fungible. Mobility, it moves across. Now money moves as an account balance from one end of the world to the another end of the world, just in few seconds. And the value, the ownership of that asset gets transferred to another person through the banking institution. Money is all pervasive. You can find it all over. in every walk of life, in every situation, in every sphere. But most important is money as an asset, cash on hand is the most liquid, most usable, most profitable asset you can have. You can use it for any purpose, but it is a zero return asset. Cash doesn't give you any return. Even if 100 rupee note this year, next year its value will come down because of inflation. But you keep 100 rupees in a bank, you will get some interest out of it. So money in cash form is the most liquid, most profitable, most usable asset. But when, as long as it continues in liquid form, it doesn't give you any benefit, interest, or what we call return on that. That is why banks are there. Money has to be channelized through banks to earn something. Now, banking as an activity, to put it simplistically, it is deposit and investment. Deposit from customer side, you deposit money in the bank, but when you same money you keep for a long-term use, not to be withdrawn, what you call fixed deposit. It is an investment because you have your plans to have some long-term interest earning from this money. You have kept it, and deposit, what you keep as deposit, savings or current account, that is for your day-to-day use. You can withdraw when you need it. Similarly, from the bank side, they lend whatever money the depositor brings, they have balance, they lend to different body, and also they invest. They invest in other shares, in other assets, and they also invest in government securities, because government also, state and central government, they borrow from the market, banks invest in that. So investment is common on both sides, but deposit, since it is to return, it is on the liability side of the bank. Lending, since bank earns from it and the money will come back to it, it's on the asset side. That is the only basic difference. In addition, we do something, storage of valuables, like all the bank locker facilities, keeping different documents, converting money into gold and keeping in gold, and keeping some gold equivalent value also in the bank. So these are additional channels for putting your money in the bank. But money moves through the banking channel as the safest, reliable, surest, and stable method. What are the cardinal principles of banking? Banking as an activity and banks as an institution. First of all, public trust. आमे साधारणतः पैसाटा घर रखिपारू, गोटे सांग पाए रखिपारू, बा गोटे दुकान रखिपारू, किंतु बैंक रे कहीं रखिया जाउछु, हमर विश्वास से पैसाटा हमें फेरी पाइबो. मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट थिंग, बैंकिंग बिजनेस इज बेस्ड ऑन पब्लिक ट्रस्ट. लोक बैंक रे पैसा रखुचंदी बोली से पैसाटा बैंक काहाकू लोन ने देई पाछु पछरे. बैंक केबे निजर शेयर, निजर कैपिटल बा निजर शेयर दिएनी, अन्य जनकर पैसाटा आनिके ताकू से जनकू दिए. तेणु डिपोजिटर पैसाटा दउचले, बैंक रो लाइफलाइन स्टार्ट होची डिपोजिट. से पैसाटार किसी अंश रखा जो डिपोजिटर तार केतବେଳେ विड्रॉ करिवा बा तार अन्य कुछ काम पई, बाकी पैसा से बैंक अन्य मानको धार सूत्र दउची बा कोठी इन्वेस्ट करची किसी हायर रिटर्न पाया पई. तेणु बैंक रो लाइफलाइन होची डिपोजिट, किंतु जने डिपोजिट सेटा स्टार्ट हो, लाइफलाइन होची डिपोजिट. डिपोजिट केम स्टार्ट हो जदि जनकर बैंकिंग सिस्टम ऊपर विश्वास थिबो. तेणु पब्लिक ट्रस्ट इज द साइन क्वा नॉन ऑफ बैंकिंग एज एन एक्टिविटी, एज एन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. सेहिति पई पृथ्वी सारा कौन से लोक बैंकिंग एक्टिविटी बिना लाइसेंस रे करि परिबन. इट इज नॉट लेफ्ट टू द स्वीट विल ऑफ सम प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल. काइना लोकंगर ट्रस्ट हेबने. इट इज अ लाइसेंस एक्टिविटी ऑल ओवर दैट. ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड बैंकिंग इज अ लाइसेंस एक्टिविटी. Who that develops a licensing authority. Much earlier it was government, earlier this emperor, then the colonial government, then the government, provincial government, then the government of India. Later on, in case of India, it became under Banking Regulation Act, it became RBI, which is the licensing authority for the banks. किंतु किछि लोक मेरे पैसा अधिक अछि, किछि लोक पैसा कम अछि. जहाँ पर अधिक अछि से देई परिबो, से किंतु पैसाटा सीधा जहाँ दरकार ताको कोठी खोजी बाहर करिवो. से जहाँ दबो से लोकटा ठीक कि नहीं, दबार हिसाब पत्र बहुत ठीक है. गोटे साधारण अल्प शिक्षित बा बेसी आधुनिक इकोनॉमिक्स जे संश्लिष्ट होई नथियो, से लोकटी पैसा केमी दबो जन को उधार. तेणु से नहीं कि बैंक रखिबो, ता पैसा सुरक्षित, तातु किसी सुध मिलियो, किसी तार बेनिफिट मिलियो. बैंक तो हिसाब करी सेतु जते पैसा जति जो अंशटा धार आके देबो, से जो माने नवा चाहउन पैसा तांको देखो, तांका काम कोन, तार व्यवसाय कोन, से नहीं परियो कि नहीं, तांका सुझिबा क्षमता अछि नहीं, तांकर उद्देश्य ठीक कि नहीं, तार सब विभिन्न पर हिसाब पत्र माप अछि, से जगह से प्रकृति रे ताको विनियोग करियो कि नहीं. तेणु बैंक जाकि तांको से पैसा पहुंचे. तेणु फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन, जने डिपोजिटर आ जने बोरोवर से माने सीधा एकाठी हे परिबन. बैंकिंग चैनल माध्यम रे से कामटा सफल हे परछ. तेणु फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन दी जन को एकाठी करवा, जहाँ द्वारा दी जन उपकार होचे. जे डिपोजिटर से किसी सुध पाइला, किसी इनकम पाइला, जे बोरोवर ताकू ता पैसा मिलला, से सेतरे फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन कामटा गोटे आनुष्ठानिक भाव करा थ्रू एन इंस्टीट्यूशन बैंकिंग गोटे काम हिसाब से लाइसेंस एक्टिविटी ताकू जो लाइसेंस दो जो रेगुलेट करछि एवं सेटा गोटे बैंकिंग गोटे अनुष्ठान माध्यम रे फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन होछि ता बिना इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट संभव नहीं कहीं जहाँ पर पैसा अच्छे जार पैसा तो किए एकाठी करिवो किंतु अति निकट गोटे जिन तुम मैंने शुणिथिबो सेटा होछि P2P लेंडिंग पर्सन टू पर्सन लेंडिंग सेठी जे लोन पैसा जे दउछि आ पैसा जे नउछि से माने प्रत्येक बा परखरे परस्पर को जानुचंती कहीं जो बैंक गोटे छोट उद्योग बैंक रु लोन नउछि से पैसा धरतु 10 जन डिपोजिट पैसा मिसिकी गोटे बैंक को आसे से बैंक दउछि जे लोन नउछि से कहा पैसा ना बोले किछि नै से गोटे बैंक रु नउछि किंतु प्रकृति ताको लोन किए देला सेटा से जानुनी P2P लेंडिंग केस रे से माने सीधा डायरेक्टली से माने जानुचंती किंतु से रिस्क कोन होय तो लोन दबा लोक बा लोन नबा लोक उभयकर जति परस्पर तथ्य ज्ञान बा अर्थनैतिक परिस्थिति विषय तांकर विश्लेषण ज्ञान सेटा यथेष्ट नहीं पारे सेथरे भी किछि भूल भटक होई पारे बा जणे जणको मिसलीड करिवार भी सुविधा अछि P2P लेंडिंग प्रथमे प्राइवेटली आरंभ हेतला आस्ते आस्ते सेटा भी बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन फोल्ड को आसी गलानी ताकू हमें नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनी एक्टिविटी सारे ग्रहण करछु कहना एमित्रे भी लोक माने नले ठकामी रे पड़ जाबार चांस अछि P2P लेंडिंग को आस्ते आस्ते भी विभिन्न प्रकार रेगुलेशन कंट्रोल भितर भारत में धीरे धीरे अणा जाउछि तेणु किंतु मुख्यतः फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन कामटा जो डायरेक्ट बोरोवर बा डिपोजिटर कंटाक्ट नथे कि फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन कामटा एबे भी प्राय अधिकांश स्तर रे बैंक ही करूछि तो यही जो चार्टा काम बैंक जन जब आम बैंकिंग कैरियर दबा तो मैंने आम ये चार्टा जिन रखिक आम चलिया पड़ो जे आम पब्लिक ट्रस्ट रे काम करछे आम कामटा लाइसेंस एक्टिविटी आम मनमुखी निजर स्वार्थ पर कर परिबानी एवं जे लाइसेंसिंग अथॉरिटी जे रेगुलेटर तार सब नीति नियम श्रृंखला मानिक करिया पड़िबो एवं फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन गोटे होची ग्रेटेस्ट पब्लिक सर्विस जो फैसिलिटेट इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट मु सही काम रे नियोजित एटा गोटे व्यक्तिगत आत्मसंतोष मध्य बैंकिंग रे काम करिवारे बैंकिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन एसेंशियली पब्लिक सर्विस जहाँ कहली एटी गोटे कथा बहुत लोक भावती मु एक्सिस बैंक आईडीबीआई बैंक आईसीआईसीआई बैंक काम कर प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक ताले पब्लिक सर्विस केमती हला गोटे बैंक प्राइवेट सेक्टर पब्लिक सेक्टर डिपेंड कर ओनरशिप नहीं कि किंतु तांकर नेचर ऑफ वर्क काम करिया ढंग प्रणाली नियम रेगुलेशन सब तो सेम तेणु गोटे जने प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक रे काम करिकी मध्य से भलिया गोटे पब्लिक सर्विस करूची गवर्नमेंट एंड सर्विंग द लार्जर सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी तो नेचर ऑफ वर्क सेम तेणु गोटे प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक रे काम कले भी यू आर आल्सो रेंडरिंग ए पब्लिक सर्विस यही चिंताधारा हम मन भीतर रहा दरकार बैंकिंग गोटे नॉलेज इंस्टीट्यूशन जेहेतु पैसा सहित डील कराउची पैसा दबा नबा पैसा डिपोजिट हिसाब से ग्रहण करियो बा लेंडिंग दबा हिसाब से गोटे बैंक पे पूरा पृथ्वी जाकर आर्थिक परिस्थिति कौन परिवर्तन होची लोकंगर आशा आकांक्षा कौन रोचे इंडस्ट्री कोबाड जाउ सब प्रकार जिनस पर से निष्पत्ति निर्भर करछि तेणु हमको गोटे बैंकिंग कैरियर रे सब बेले निजर ज्ञान निजर पारिपार्श्विक परिस्थितिर अनुध्यान को सब बेले अपडेट करिया पड़े सो इट इज ए नॉलेज इंस्टीट्यूशन कंटिन्यूइंग खाली एंट्री पॉइंट नो थ्रू आउट कैरियर सेटा गोटे बड़ सैटिस्फैक्शन बैंकिंग कैरियर रे फैसिलिटेशन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट हम माने बर्तन से देखले जनरली परमानेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन हाँ गोटे बैंक कोलैप्स करि पारे 1963 रे गोटे पलानी सेंट्रल बैंक गोटे बैंक तार फेलुअर पर डिपोजिटर माने कि पैसा हरैतिले किंतु गत 63 वर्ष भितर भारत रे गोटे हेले बैंक फेल मानी हाँ केते गुडी अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक जो माने पूरा पूरी रेगुलेशन भितर नहांती से मानकर किछटा एक्सेसिव बिजनेस एक्टिविटी जोगु किछटा असुविधा पड़ছে किंतु गोटे मर्जर एवं अन्य फैसिलिटी जोगु प्राय कोनसे बैंक जदि असुविधा रे थाए ताको गोटे अन्य बैंक टेक ओवर करे एवं भारत रे फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम रे एटा गोटे हमर प्राइड मध्य जे गत 63 वर्ष भितर कौन बैंक फेल माने तेणु बैंक रे चाकरी करले एटलिस्ट मु जहाँ पर चाकरी कर से परमानेंट मु गोटे कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर काम करी गोटे कंपनी काम करी गोटे अन्य कोन संस्था रे काम करी से संस्थाटा जदि बुडी गला मु चाकरीटा केमते रहइबो किंतु बैंक रे एटलिस्ट इंस्टीट्यूशन टा परमानेंट तो से दिगर कौन चिंता करिवार नै बैंकिंग एज ए कैरियर बैंक रो विभिन्न प्रकार में मुख्यतः दुई भाग रे विभक्त करू दैट इज कमर्शियल बैंक एंड कोऑपरेटिव बैंक कमर्शियल बैंक माने गोटे कंपनी जॉइंट सेक्टर कंपनी तापर से माने बैंकिंग एक्टिविटी पे गोटे लाइसेंस पाइला पर करंती कोऑपरेटिव बैंक से बेसिकली गोटे सोसाइटी हिसाब से फॉर्म होती अंडर सोसाइटी रजिस्ट्रेशन एक्ट तापर से बैंकिंग एक्टिविटी कले से लाइसेंस नहीं कोऑपरेटिव बैंक हिसाब से कार्य करते क्योंकि सेठी तांकर शेयर होल्डर होचोनी जो माने मेंबर्स आ कमर्शियल बैंक रे शेयर होल्डर गवर्नमेंट हे पारे प्राइवेट बॉडी हे पारे बा मिक्स्ड हे पारे फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम कहले सेटा और गोटे बहुत प्रशस्त क्षेत्र ता भीतर गुडे अनुष्ठान रही बैंक ता दूर केवल गोटे मेजर सेगमेंट अन्य सेगमेंट होची नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज ଯେମିତି ମନପୁର ଗୋଲ୍ଡ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ, financial institution NABARD should be एवलिया mutual fund, capital market, share market investments is with the different bodies. ये समस्त मिसिक फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम टाको रो गोटे अंश बा मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट हम को तादर बैंक्स होची सबटु बड़ मेजर पोर्शन होची बैंक्स। किंतु बैंक से चाकरी गले हम जदियो बैंक्स मेजर पोर्शन हम अन्य सब फाइनेंशियल पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो मार्केट प्लेयर तांका सहित लिंकेज भी रहउची। तेणु सेटा भी हमको आस्ते आस्ते से नॉलेज भी जाने को मिले और गोटे लार्जर व्यू पे हमको एटा बहुत साहाय्य करे। बैंक एज ए कैरियर हेले एटा गोटे एडवांटेज। हमर फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम जेतु मुझा कहली जे कोन से लाइसेंस एक्टिविटी माने तादर गोटे रेगुलेटर निश्चय थिबो। से लाइसेंसिंग जनरली लाइसेंसिंग अथॉरिटी इटसेल्फ विल बी द रेगुलेटर। तेणु हमर प्राइमरी रेगुलेटर प्रथमे बहुत पुराना सबटु बड़ और सबटु मेजर पोर्शन रेगुलेट करछि एंड ऑल डिपॉजिट टेकिंग एक्टिविटीज रेगुलेट करछि, दैट इज रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया। सिक्योरिटी एक्सचेंज बोर्ड ऑफ इंडिया कैपिटल मार्केट रेगुलेट करछि। इंश्योरेंस रिलेटेड जते प्रोडक्ट एवं तार एक्टिविटीज प्रोसीजर इंश्योरेंस रेगुलेटरी एंड डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी इरडा। सिमिलरली प्रोविडेंट फंड रो रेगुलेशन होछि पीएफआरडीए। ये सब रेगुलेटर ऊपर जेहेतु जेमति मु कहली विभिन्न मार्केट सेगमेंट इंटरलिंक अछि, विभिन्न प्रोडक्ट इंटरलिंक, विभिन्न इंस्टीट्यूशन इंटरलिंक। तो ची गोटे ता ओवरऑल गोटे ओवरसाइट दरकार। सेति पे एपेक्स लेवल फोरम होछि एफएसडीसी, दैट इज फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी एंड डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल, जे कि ऑनरेबल फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ऑफ द यूनियन सी प्रिजाइड्स ओवर इट एंड डिफरेंट रेगुलेटर्स आर मेंबर्स ऑफ इट। तो एई पृष्ठभूमि में देखिए बैंकिंग काम गोटे एक्टिविटी गोटे एज एन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी तार कौन सब चैलेंज हो पारे। इनफॉर्मेशन एसिमेट्री, डिपोजिट पाखे जो इनफॉर्मेशन अच्छे बरोर पाखे नहीं, बरोर पाखे जो इनफॉर्मेशन बैंक ऑफिसर पाखे जूनियर लेवल नथिबो। तेणु गुडे जिन हमको निजर नॉलेज टाको अपडेट करिया पड़े। आ इनफॉर्मेशन एसिमेट्री जो हमको बेले बेले डिसीजन नंबर टाइम लगे, आम से इनफॉर्मेशन गैप टाको आगो ओवरकम करिया पड़े। एटा गोटे प्रथम चैलेंज। द्वितीय जे वोलेटिलिटी, मार्केट फाइनेंस बैंकिंग सिस्टम डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन तांकर रेस्पॉन्स तांकर बिजनेस डिसीजन गुडा बहुत जल्दी चेंज हो, बहुत गुडे फैक्टर निर्भर करे। हमको ता सहित एडजस्ट करिया पड़िबो एवं सेटा आगो जानिया को पड़िबो बा एंटिसिपेट करिया पड़िबो। फास्टर ऑब्सोलेंस ऑफ नॉलेज जो कथा हम जानिछु एंट्री पॉइंट बहुत जल्दी सेटा पूर्ण हो जाए। क्या नुआ नुआ प्रोडक्ट बाउची, नुआ नुआ स्टाइल में प्रोसीजर बाउची, एक्सपेक्टेशन बाउची, रिस्क और नुआ नुआ रिस्क भी क्रिएट होची, नुआ नुआ रिटर्न भी तादर बेनिफिट भी चेंज होची। तेणु आमर जोटा इनहेरेंट कॉग्निटिव डोमेन नॉलेज सेटा बेले बेले बहुत जल्दी आउटडेटेड है। तो सब बेले नॉलेज अपडेशन करिया पड़े, एटा भी गोटे चैलेंज। इंटरलिंकेजेस जोटा हम डिस्कस करथिले, बैंक्स टा गोटे जते इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट ग्रोथ है इंटरलिंक ग्लोबल लिंकेजेस आस्ते आस्ते बैंक्स हमर एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत खाली डिपोजिट नवा बा लेंड करबा किसी इन्वेस्ट करबा सेमन त बहुत गुडा जिंस हम एक्सपेक्ट करछु जे लार्जर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज रे बैंक्स इन्फ्लुएंस हो हमको भी गाइड करो। बर्तमान भी बैंक्स में बहुत गुडा एडवाइजरी सर्विसेज दवा भी स्टार्ट करलेनी फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ द कॉमन मैन। नाउ बैंकिंग, सपोज we have chosen bank as a career. What are the positives or the advantage? Decent salary, say private sector or public sector bank, even urban cooperative bank. It takes care of full liability support at the prime of our youth. Today, young age जो चाकरी start होची, plus किसी savings भी बम तादर generate हुए, जोटा कि हमें from day one liability support savings अच्छी, एवं at the end of the career of 35 years or so, you have retirement benefits. Most of the institutions have the pension facilities, maybe contributory. तो गोटे stable institution ने गोटे stable चाकरी beginning रू with a decent salary, it goes on with a retirement benefit. So it's a lifetime support for this in this career. Procedure is very structured. Ether arbitrariness but too much discretion नहीं. Very procedure is well laid down, structured. जेतोले प्रोसीजर स्ट्रक्चर्ड हुए गोटे लोक सेफली काम करे कारण से मिसयूज बा एबरेशन बा निजो कैरियर ऊपर चाकरी ऊपर रिस्क आसबा ठीक कमी जाए। देन regulators, licensing authorities and government, both state and provincial and national government, they do oversight function of banking as an activity. Seith mein sadhanata banking activity, both banking as an activity and banks as an institution, both are quite stable, long term and permanent institutions. Recently, where there is, in COVID time, digitalization, then remote login, then distance banking, finally we have found out that direct customer contact is required to educate and to convince him why you are giving this product. एवं विभिन्न प्रकार इकोनॉमिक ब्रैकेट रो लोकन पय विभिन्न प्रकार एसोसिएशन पय कस्टमाइज प्रोडक्ट रो दरकार पड़छ। तो जेतेबेले एई जिंसडा आछे वंस अगेन बैंकिंग एज ए कैरियर देयर इज मोर इंटरफेस विथ द पब्लिक, मोर एक्सपेंशन ऑफ ब्रिक एंड मोटर ब्रांचेस एंड योर प्रेजेंस देयर। तो आस्ते आस्ते वंस अगेन लास्ट 4-3 years पर अगेन बैंकिंग रो जो दिस एंटायर मोजाइक ऑफ बैंकिंग सिस्टम इज एक्सपेंडिंग एंड यू हैव अ प्लेस इन दैट in them in direct public interface and also expansion of physical brick and mortar branches. This is overall as a banking as a profession. We will now see the ingredients of banking as an activity. Let us, as I told you, primarily we are discussing the commercial banking landscape. You have broadly four types: public sector banks, private sector banks, foreign banks, and specialized banks. These are mostly related to ownership or their core activity. Public sector bank, they are doing all types of activities. They are large government-owned institutions like State Bank of India and Bank of Baroda. If you join there, they offer job security. There is a lot of social impact, financial inclusion and other regional development activities they do. Extensive reach, and they often focus on rural and private sector lending. Private sector banks, they are little dynamic and growth oriented, such as SDFC and SSC Bank. They are known for innovation. Their technology adoption and adaptation is slightly faster, and customer centric service, because they want to impress the customer, give more customized product, often offer competitive salaries and faster career progression to retain the talent. The private sector banks generally offer faster career progression. Foreign banks, they are generally global players like Citibank and HSBC. They bring international best practices and offer exposure to global markets. They focus on corporate banking, wealth management, and specialized financial services. Now, specialized banks, specialized in the sense their core activity is not what we call universal banking. They don't do all types of banking or all localities or all sectors, sections, or segments of society. All sectors of economy, all sections of people, all geographical or business segments. Because by being specialized, they cater to that specific sector, section, or segment. Mark these words: sector, section, or segment. They are known as niche institutions. You have regional rural banks. Their primary focus is to serve the banking interest of rural areas, small finance banks, and payment banks. They cater to specific segments like rural and micro enterprises and low income households, driving financial inclusion across India. When you choose banking and a career, you may have a choice to choose one of these four types of banks. But as I told you, the nature of work, the aspiration, contribution to society is same. Don't feel that you are any less important or you are doing any less contribution to the society, because banking, as I have been reiterating, is a public service through public trust, license secretary, structured procedure, and facilitator economic development. You are rendering a public service. Throughout career, you will have this satisfaction. You are doing something good for the society. As I told you, there are different activities. We broadly can group it into retail banking, risk management, corporate banking, technology and digital banking. These are done by all types of banks. Like digital banking, whether you are urban cooperative bank, state cooperative bank, or you are foreign bank, you have to do it. Risk management, each bank for its long-term survival has to assess its business, what risk it is carrying, and whether it ultimately meet the interest of the depositors. Corporate banking, that is for generally for large borrowers, for corporate. Retail banking at a lower level, for a smaller scale, for the low income brackets or the marginalized sections, or those are in the remote locations of the country where full scale banking service is not available. But mind you, these small depositors, millions, crores of these small depositors spread over every nook and corner, they together only give the lifeline to the bank. So these are broadly four categories. You can, there are some ancillary activities also which the banks do. This is done by all types of banks. Having come this far, let us see how do we enter a banking system, not as a depositor, borrower, but as a staff. I want to build up a career in a bank. What are the different pathways? Now, you can enter a bank at two levels, our staff level or officer level. Our staff is class 3 and class 4. Officers, of course, class 1. Now, our staff, you can join as a sub-staff, maintenance staff, or you can join as a clerk. Now we call them assistants at the entry point level. But from assistant, you can get promoted to officers. There are certain HR policies. Through that, you can be promoted to class 1 officer later on. Now, officers are generally recruited at the base level, some case at the little higher than the base level, but with increasing specialization, challenges for banking and market situation unfolding and becoming very fast changing, banks also have felt the need that we need specialized officers slightly at a higher level who can enter at scale 3, 4 at a higher level and take charge of a particular segment of our banking activity. So lateral induction as officer is also, this option is also available depending on your specialization. So you can enter at the outstart level as class 3 staff or class 4 staff. You can enter as an officer at the entry point level as base level, scale 1 or scale 2. You can also enter through a lateral induction channel at a much higher level depending on your specialization or the type of specialized role that bank is expecting at that point of time in its evolution. Now regulators, RBI, SEBI, PFRDA, RDA. How do you can join them also? You can join a mainland bank. You can join also banking regulator also of that segment. Now these regulators, they have their own services and recruitment board. They conduct exams separately. But there is a similarity of exam pattern now also. Generally, if you are able to clear some public sector bank, you can reasonably expect with little effort even to clear some entry point exams of all these 4 regulators. More or less, they are at the same level. So, like I had the occasion to join State Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, or RBI. In our time, there are limited opportunities. You know, as a student, you are anxious to get into some job first. In that, it depends which job offer comes first or at what stage we have reached. Now, State Bank of India initial circle is generally a particular state is a circle. I got Northeastern circle of 7 states. While that result was out, I was selected for Reserve Bank of India to join directly as an officer. So I joined. Though it was an all India cadre, I know I have to move all over India. So similarly, you can, whatever bank you start with, don't treat it as an end in itself. You can still think of going to another bank, going to RBI, SEBI, different institution also. You can keep that option open. And generally, in our time, there was a bond amount, there is a restriction. Once you join a particular banking institution, you cannot quit easily. You may have to pay some compensation bond amount. And you know, as students also, sometimes you may not have that enough money to pay and quit. So you continue. So most of us have, after some effort, whenever we have cleared banks, people of my age group, in our time, some more than 45 years back, generally we cleared most of the public sector banks in one go, along with some regulators. At that time, SEBI, PFRDA, IRDA was not the regulator, means only banking regulator, means only Reserve Bank of India. That was in late 70s when we were writing these exams. So regulators have their own services recruitment board, but they're not very fundamentally different. If you're preparing for some public sector bank or clearing IBPS different stages, generally you can be confident with some effort to clear the banking as a regulator also. And we have both ways. Generally, from commercial banks, people have, after 2-3 years, they have joined RBI or SEBI as a regulator, so that operational knowledge at the ground level in the field has also strengthened their position. That may be an advantage. And public sector banks, one more thing, due to computerization, one benefit banking system as a whole in India has got, mostly our application tags, our apps, our system, more or less standardized. There is not much difference. So if you join a public sector bank, you whatever way you dispense the banking transaction, you can also do the similar things in a private sector bank. Okay. Why I'm saying, people start at the entry level in a public sector bank. But when there is a lateral induction in a private sector bank, because of specialization, because even in a public sector bank, depending on your initial 10-15 years experience, you may turn out to be specialist in a niche area, in some particular banking activity. You may opt to go for a lateral induction at a higher plane in the private sector also. But because of computers, mostly systems and procedures are very standardized, and operating knowledge is required is similar. So you can also think of this change in the mid-course also. That option is also available. When the banks were run in manual system, they are heterogeneous. Now they are more or less on a uniform pattern. Private banks, mostly they recruit their own, they have their own channel of recruitment. They don't approach IBPS, but in some cases, they are also sometimes taking IBPS score as the reference point. This I gathered when I was conducting mock interview for many candidates who have cleared IBPS. They are also competing for private sector bank like Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. So This channel is private sector bank. They have their own channel. Now, non-banking financial companies and financial institutions, that I is to a capital. They also have the financial institution means NABARD, SIDBI, similar institutions. We call it All India Financial Institution. Each is established by a respective parliamentary act, and state level institutions are established by the state level legislation. And their recruitment, they have their own channel. But as I was mentioning a little earlier, there is the exam pattern is similar. Only they may need a particular domain knowledge for specific to their own institution. Now, this point I want you to appreciate. So basically, the ambition, career ambition at your age, at stage is, why not join as an officer and opt for an all India cadre? But there are some personal disadvantages because your initial posting may be far away from your state. You may have dependent parents, or you may have an ongoing course of study which you want to complete, or there may be some immediate worldly commitments you have to meet. So you may find it as a handicap. I know many of our brilliant people, they don't write a bank exam because basically it's an all India cadre. Though many banks initially post you in a particular region or state for at least 10-15 years. Till you reach a mid-career, mid-management or higher management level, they don't move you out. But technically or at HR policy, they are free to post you anywhere in India. So many people don't opt banking as a career because they don't want to go out as an officer. Now, what is the other way around? In our time, anybody joining the out staff around the age of 20 to 25, these were mostly seniority based promotion. So your chance will come depending on the vacancies at the officers level for your corresponding batch. So sometimes that wait for 10-20 years. But now RBI, commercial banks, most of the banks have found out their first level promotion to officer through a merit channel, not to the promotion channel. So you don't have to wait longer till your batch or your turn comes. You can write a competitive exam and become an officer in 3-4 years. Why I am saying this? If you join as a clerk, basically local posting, take care of all worldly commitments in 3-4 years. Then at the appropriate time, write the exam to become an officer. Then move to rest of India, become all India cadre, because that is all India cadre. Generally, that promotion will be effective after you report to the new place. In this way, you can combine your career aspiration with your personal commitments or requirements. This is an important question. As the society changes, most of you are one or two child of your parents. So there are immediate dependent parents, maybe parents of the spouse also is dependent because he or she happens to be a single child. So in this situation, don't feel discouraged. Opt for a award staff or a clerical post because that will be local competition. You have better chance to clear it. And then at the appropriate time, you become eligible generally after 3 years to compete for an officer's cadre. And you have the option open before you. At the appropriate time, you can write that exam, become an officer, move out of your place when you have already discharged your worldly commitment. That is why I still say entry level at class 3 is a good career. It was not so in our time. Now, just 2 days back, this news has come. As I told you, there is renewed emphasis on customer contact and customized product. How best to do that? You should be able to know the language of the customer, what he wants to say. But once your official cadre is all India, we all come from different places. Like I worked in all over 7 states, all corners of India for 36 years and finally came to Odisha as the officer in charge to my home state after 37 years of serving outside. Now, for that, you need a local language. Now, SBI, Bank of Baroda recently decided they will go what they call a separate cadre of local officer. The test, the pattern, the career path is same. But let's say 100 officers SBI recruits, out of which 30 for Odisha. Means these selected officers have to know the local language, the vernacular, because they find this customer contact interface at their language is very much an important thing to sell your financial products, to meet the requirements of the customer, and to carry the public trust further. So this the new thing. Now, for you it is an advantage. If you join this cadre, at least up to scale 4-5, you will not be transferred, you will confine to a region. So as I was just mentioning earlier, you take care of all your personal requirements, family and parental family, your own family requirements, or your own educational career aspirations. they will not disturb you. You will be in the same state or same region, depending on that how that bank has different zonal classifications. Then you can move up. You are not losing in the career because you will be just like mainline probation officers or direct recruit officers, but you will not be disturbed. Another advantage, this is a local officer recruitment. Competition will be confined to only those candidates who know that language. In Tamil Nadu, you will not compete with a person from Odisha. But when you come to IBPS based overall cadre, you have to compete with the entire India. Competition is tougher there. Little uncertain. Here you have better chance of getting selected. And particularly those who are quite good at their mother tongue or vernacular, even though they have read in English medium schools, if they are good at, they have a better chance. So this is a very new opening. What I find, this meets the bank's requirement and also meets your personal requirement. So this way you can keep the recruitment for that has not started, but this policy decision has been taken. This is a news from just 2 days back. So this way you can also have a better career aspiration you can meet and also take care of your personal requirements. I'm a senior citizen, so I need 2 minutes break. You have to bear with me. You can. Now we have seen different pathways to enter a banking sector and build a career there. We have already touched on this point. This just to summarize this. There are multiple avenues to kickstart your banking career, catering to different academic backgrounds and aspirations. Where you have to face a competitive exam. This is for IBPS. That is, IBPS stands for Institute of Banking Personnel Selection. For probation officer and clerk, SBI PO and clerk, RBI grade B officer or as assistant, that is clerk. They are popular routes for graduates. They have exams. They test 4 attributes, that is your language skill, quantitative aptitude, reasoning, and general awareness. You say, as a banker, to get selected in banking, it is just not your domain knowledge or academic attribute or cognitive talent or your historical experience that alone matters. Or you have to be adept at language, arithmetic, mathematical, your logic, and also overall situation in the economy, that is general awareness. Some banks, they do campus placement, as I mentioned, because of the need of specialized job or a specific degree, domain knowledge of the candidate. They go to different campus and recruit them. Many private and foreign banks, they recruit directly from management and engineering colleges for specialized roles in finance, analytics, and IT. In 2001 and 2, in RBI also, we have recruited IT people from the campus from different IT institutions. Then I mentioned that you can enter at the base level either as the outstaff or officer. You can also enter a banking system at a higher level, what we call lateral induction. For that, special courses and certificates are required. Programs like NISM. NISM is National Institute of Security Management. Their certification, certified financial planner, or course in data science for finance can give you a competitive edge and direct entry into niche roles. So, as I told you, since banking is a very vast and heterogeneous sector, you first mentally work out where, at what level, which type of institution you want to enter, and prepare focus to that institution. Of course, this experience and preparation will help you to enter similar banks because exam patterns are more or less similar. Now we have to prepare for it. Bank job, how do you prepare? Computer-based training, in our time it was known as objective type test, later on MCQ, that is multiple choice question. Now there generally call it. Computer-based training. There are options, including none of this. You have to choose. And if the answer is wrong, it carries penalty at a particular ratio. So speed is very important. For that, you have to do a lot of practice at home. You have to increase your speed of taking it. Risk taking. Now you are doubtful whether this answer is correct or not. You have one choice not to answer. You don't get anything. But if you answer it, it is wrong, you lose only 1/4. But some questions you have to answer. You cannot just doubt and this, you cannot skip many questions, then your overall score becomes less. And you have to qualify in each section of that object CBT also. It's not that you are very good at language and you score less in the quantitative aptitude section. You can qualify. It is a reflection of how quickly you judge the question. Be careful while reading the question. Try to know what exactly is the question. Why there are 4 options? It is only to confuse, because all 4 options will appear to be similar and correct also. So be careful, very intently understand the question, context, what exactly it is asking for. And if you have definite answer, you know, tick it. If you don't know, then it takes more time. You can take a pause, but keep track of questions which you have skipped, because once your sequence is changed, means all your answers will be wrong. And these days, there is adaptive marking also. This computer also works out. If most of the people have answered that question, whether you have taken more time to answer that or take that, that means your score is below average. So you have to very promptly do it. In fact, objective type tests are also little bit test of your personality. In that stressful situation with limited time, how quickly you arrive at some decision, whether or not to answer, if what should be my nearest correct answer. Descriptive, you have clarity and what is required, clarity and analytical presentation. Don't shuffle with your lot of facts and figures or lost like ready reckoners. This will not impress the examiner. And definitely, if the question is more on a behavioral science, socioeconomic issues, or even current affairs, have definite view. Don't give very elusive, this way, that way, elusive answers. You have to take a view and take a stand. In interview, of course, you'll have a lot of other practice and guidance. I have only mentioned broadly some factors. There are more to it. You have to be very honest. If you don't know, I accept it. Your biodata or CV curriculum vitae, read it thoroughly. Some questions will always come up. You have to justify. If there was a break in your studies, or you have joined some organization, quit it, or there is some other thing, then you have to justify the situation demanded, or you are confused, or there is no guidance available, or you don't have a definite perspective, because you have to justify why you are keen on banking and you will continue in banking for your career and contribute also. So analyze your own biodata, what are the possible questions, and have definite answers for that. Try to answer when they are giving a cue, particularly second time that question is asked giving cue, that means they want whether you are making an effort to know. You may not be knowing the full answer, but don't say, I just don't know and stop there. If they are giving cue, second cue, that means they expect you to answer, because they know this you are not supposed to know in toto. And always give your futuristic view, banking sector, because generally we get saddled with current affairs. What you project or presume, or what you will even prefer, futuristic view of the banking system or its contribution to, or your own, the role of the employees, the staff, that. How do you progress? In the beginning itself, you find banking is a multitasking, public-facing, and heterogeneous profession. A lot of type of transactions, activities, segments of the economy, different sectors of the economy, and different types of depositors, customers you have to handle. So as you progress, days roll on, you'll be exposed to a lot of this multitask and heterogeneous profession. Your environment changes from the remote rural country to metro center, to just dealing with deposit and small time loans, to dealing in treasury management at the metro center or in the head office level. So you have a very wide variety of environment, exposure to varied environment, and also financial products. And you'll find generally it's a stable job, stable institution, and it's a long-term career. And most of the banks have very good retirement benefits. Of course, you have to render a minimum number of years of service. Once you choose banking as a career, let us see generally what are the different stages you'll pass through. Banking offers clear progression paths with opportunities for growth into leadership and specialized roles. Entry level, of course, you can be an officer, probation officer, clerk, or a junior analyst. At first few years at the entry level, your focus will be on foundational tasks, learning processes, and customer interaction. Try managerial role time mid-career asset. It is in service for commercial bank. Our regulator body manager role take pachara asset. Branch manager, senior relationship manager, specialist officer. Teamwork is important. Who sense to manage teams? Our client or aspiration, customer their portfolio, the bouquet of financial products we offer and his requirements, handle mid-career major challenge. And contributing to strategic initiative, bank or institutional growth or long-term by so strategic steps mid-career in mid-level, middle management level initiate se idea daba ebong taku operationalize kariba. Later on, you reach the leadership role, that is zonal head. Generally, bank controllers go zonal head, regional manager, and chief officer. Then you focus on policy making, strategic planning, and driving overall business growth and profitability. Each state offers new challenges and opportunities for skill development and increased responsibility. मुझे कहते जेहेतु नॉलेज टाइम कंटिन्यूअसली अपडेट करिया पड़छि, एनवायरनमेंट चेंज होछि, आउ 8-10 वर्ष पर कस्टमर एक्सपेक्टेशन भी चेंज हो, इकोनॉमिक सिचुएशन चेंज होछि, ग्लोबल लिंकेजेस चेंज होछि, तो कंटिन्यूअसली नो चैलेंज आसीबो, यू विल एंजॉय इट बिकॉज़ आवर फाउंडेशंस आर थिबो, फील्ड लेवल एक्सपीरियंस ला पर यू विल आल्सो अडैप्ट योरसेल्फ टू दिस चैलेंजेस बिकॉज़ ऑफ द एज, मैच्योरिटी, डोमेन नॉलेज, एक्सपर्टाइज and reflex. You develop proper reflex also for that. Then you start welcoming increased responsibility and you will enjoy doing it. हमें जो है बर्तन डिस्कस में एटा प्राय एटा उठे तार सम अप व्हाई बैंकिंग इज ए फुलफिलिंग करियर काहे कि एटा उठे ओवरऑल सैटिस्फैक्शन रहबो ठीक है एज ए करियर विल बी हैप्पी. A career in banking is more than just a job. Variety, continuity, stability, and this sheer satisfaction of rendering a social service, and you are primarily doing a public service while taking care of your own personal requirement. It is an opportunity to contribute to India's economic growth and also to your own personal prosperity. 4 components: stability and growth, impactful contribution, dynamic and evolving professional development. To our pride, Indian banking system is one of the most robust banking systems in the world. It has withstood all pressures, but people have trust in it. It's contributing largely and in very timely manner to the overall economic development and also meeting requirement of a highly diversified social and economic setup of the country. It is now coming down to financial inclusion at the extreme level is coming down to the doorstep of every citizen of every category who is marginalized, who is geographically located in remote location, through digital banking and through banking correspondence also. So this way, Indian Bank is a robust banking system, that is Indian banking system, with continuous expansion driven by economic development and financial inclusion initiatives. Dynamic and evolving, as I mentioned, we are linked to the global situation. We are linked to the changing aspirations of the business, the corporate, my borrower, my depositor. So banks generally adapt to these things very fast. Amenability structured, rule-based, principle-based organization by activity. I'm भावु सेठी innovation और creativity पे scope नहीं थी ना. Bank उटे बड़ा जो structured, rule-based, principle-based organization है कि भी it very quickly adapts to environmental change. Kemiti rapid technological adoption. This means a constant evolution of services and roles, ensuring a challenging and exciting work environment. हमें जो काम करते तार किसी फायदा लाभ हो चुके नहीं कि खाली हमें रूटीन वे काम करते. No, there is an impactful contribution. It helps individuals achieve financial goals. It supports business and it contributes to the national development through credit flow and financial services. Now, professional development. As I told you, since banks adapt to very fast changing environment and our procedures, knowledge become obsolete, outdated very fast. So, how the institutions are surviving? they invest very heavily in training and development, on-site training development, off-site training, foreign exposure, and generally in RBI also we have a very liberal policy of giving exposure to all segments of financial system here and abroad. Most of the banks spend heavily. They are very liberal in to upgrade your skill, to develop that critical financial acumen in you to meet the evolving challenges. Banks invest heavily in training and development. They offer continuous learning opportunities and exposure to diverse financial domains here and abroad. So there is a lot of professional development in banking system. All the banks. You don't have to plan for it. You have to spend for it. Your organization takes care of it. So you have stability and growth, and you find a lot of dynamism in your activities. It is adapting to technology and other changes very fast, while remaining rooted in a very structured and stable system and manual procedure of doing things, so that there is no aberration, there is no risk to your job, or you don't get tempted to misuse the procedure also. But at the same time, you get the satisfaction there is some impact on the society, and I'm contributing to the larger economic development. So much so about choosing banking as a career. We have just few minutes left. Let us see how best to plan for it, to prepare for it. Generally, you will need all the skills to rise in a bank, but you need some of the skills even to clear the entrance, the test itself, the recruitment test itself. Your communication and in-person skills. You have to be digital and tech savvy, your analytical and problem solving, and your financial acumen. Now, communication interpersonal skill matters, writing your descriptive part of the exam and facing the interview. And it matters from the day one of your career, because you are a public facing institution. And your customers most of the time come with a sense of anxiety. You have to know what is the requirement, whether you are equipped to do it, and within the rules. So building trust with clients and collaborating effectively with teams is and your own staff, your colleagues. This is very paramount. Clear, concise communication is key in all banking roles, from customer service to corporate presentations. Just individually talking to a customer across the counter till you make a presentation to a corporate head, inviting him to the bank's controlling office and explaining why this can or cannot be done. It needs a lot of communication interpersonal skills. You have to know the diction, the terminology, the technical terms, and also how best to convey. Digitally, of course, banking is one sector which has observed digitalization to the maximum. With rapid digital transformation, familiarity with the banking software, data analytics tools, and emerging technology like artificial intelligence and blockchain is becoming indispensable. Analytical and problem solving. See, you are dealing with money which is linked to a situation, mostly economic. But economic situations are very complex and they don't give always a unilateral clear signal. You have to take different data, parameters, understand it, analyze it, different ratio analysis. Finally, you have to arrive at a decision about the viability of that project, profitability for your institution, and its durability. So for this, analyzing financial data is a different skill. That will not be so quickly tested at the entrance level, but in due course to rise in career and for dispensation to dispense your job to the satisfaction of the institution and customer, you have to develop that. The ability to analyze financial data, identify trends, and develop solutions to complex challenges is fundamental. This applies whether you are assessing credit risk or designing new financial products. Here, financial products precede the customer or customer precedes the financial product. Sometimes banks offer some financial products and persuade or assuage the customer that you go for it. Sometimes the customer comes with his requirement and banks try to evolve it within the available systems and procedure, and also to meet the national goals set by the government and regulatory requirements. You have to comply with the regulations also. Within those two boundaries, banks try to develop a financial product suitable for that customer. Financial acumen. A strong grasp of economic principles, financial markets, accounting, and investment strategies will empower you to make informed decisions and contribute meaningfully to the institutions and the society. These skills you are already having, you have to hone it, you have to hone these skills further, and these skills continuously you have to hone after you join the bank in whatever cadre. They have to continuously you have to hone these skills and get involved. For that, you may have to, of course, banks invest a lot in your training and upgradation, but you may have to do spare some time and energy for that also for self-learning. Together, then you may update yourself, then you find the job very easier and interesting and safe for you. Then once you are aware and you upgrade your skill and your professional level is raised to that, then the risk of taking wrong decision or getting affected by information asymmetry is reduced. Then your job becomes all the more enjoyable. I'm sure you are convinced now to choose banking as a career. ଆମ ବେଳେ limited option ଥିଲା, civil service, teaching, ନହେଲେ banking. Luckily, banking expansion phase ଥିଲା late 70s, କାହିଁକି ସେତେବେଳେ bank nationalization ପରେ a lot of jobs were created. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ decent salary, stability ଏସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡ଼ା ଥିଲା. ତେଣୁ ପ୍ରାୟ ମୋ ଜେନେରେସନ ବହୁତ ପିଲା civil service ବା pure teaching ରେ join କରିଥିଲେ, ନହେଲେ banking. କିନ୍ତୁ employment opportunity banking ରେ ବହୁତ ଥିଲା. Multiple exam ହଉଥିଲା. ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା ତାଙ୍କ ରିକ୍ରୁଟମେଣ୍ଟ ବୋର୍ଡ କରିଥିଲେ, ସେମାନେ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ରୁ ଆମେ ସେ 8ଟା ଶିଖି ଯାଉଥିଲୁ, ଏକାଥରେ 10-12ଟା ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କିଂ ରିକ୍ରୁଟମେଣ୍ଟ ଏକ୍ସାମ ଦଉଥିଲୁ। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯେହେତୁ ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲାଇଜ ଆଇବିପି ହଉ, ସେଥିରେ ଗୋଟେ ଅସୁବିଧା ହଉଛି, ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସଟା ବେଶୀ ହେଇପାରୁନି। ଗୋଟେ ଥର ଦେଲା ଗୋଟେ ବର୍ଷ ସେ ସିରିଜଟା ଚାଲି ଯାଉଛି। ଆମେ ବେଳେ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଥରେ 10-12 ଥର ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ଦେଉଥିଲୁ, ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ ଆମକୁ ଅନ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କରେ ସକ୍ସେସଫୁଲ ଭାବରେ ସାହାଯ୍ୟ କରୁଥିଲେ। ସେଟା ତ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ନୁହେଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମକୁ ଟିକେ ପ୍ରିପାରେସନ ପଡେ। ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଯେକୌଣସି ସର୍ଭେ academic background, I studied economics. I have friends from sociology, anthropology, history, all streams, science, commerce, who are selected as professional officers in banks or along with me as an officer in RBI. কিন্তু বর্তমান কেতବେଳେ ସେ ଟିକେ ରିଲେଟେଡ୍ ସବଜେକ୍ଟର ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ଦରକାର ବା ସେ ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ନିଜେ ବିଲ୍ଡ ଅପ୍ କରିଦେଇ ହବ, ଯଦି ସେ ଧର ଜଣେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ବେସିକ ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସବଜେକ୍ଟରେ କରିହବ। ତେଣୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଏଇଟା ଲାଷ୍ଟ ସ୍ଲାଇଡ୍, ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ଆମେ କେମିତି ନିଜକୁ ଏଠୁ ପ୍ରିପେୟାର କରିବା। ମାନେ ଆସ୍ତେ ଆସ୍ତେ ପରୀକ୍ଷାର ହଲରେ ବସିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ, ସେ ରିକ୍ରୁଟମେଣ୍ଟ ଟେଷ୍ଟରେ ପାର୍ଟିସିପେଟ କରିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ବି କେତେ ଗୁଡେ ଜିନିଷ ଆମେ ପ୍ରିପେୟାର କରିପାରିବା। ଆଉ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକୁ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କିଂ କ୍ୟାରିୟର ଜଏନ୍ କଲା ପରେ ବି ଆମର ଆଉ କାମ ଦେବ। Proactive preparation is key to securing your desired role and excelling in the banking sector. Pursue degrees in commerce, economics, finance or business administration. जो माने तुम भीतर वर्तमान +2 स्टेज रे अछि, जस्ट कंप्लीट करछ, ग्रेजुएशन डिग्री चूज करना, you can choose one of these related to economic and finance, that is commerce, economics, finance or business administration for your graduation degree. You can consider specialized courses in fintech, data science or risk management. सेटा टिके जनरली ग्रेजुएशन पर कले बेटर, कने नले डिग्री लेवल से जिनसा टिके अप्रिशिएट करिया टिके कष्ट होई पारे। So you can consider specialized courses in fintech, data science or risk management. बा पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन जे कोन कोर्स से करते बेले अलोंग साइड ऑफ इट एगुडा थ्रू डिस्टेंस लर्निंग मोड रे करियबो बा शॉर्ट क्रैश प्रोग्राम्स अछि बा इंस्टीट्यूशन सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स भी दोछन। सेटा होचे एई प्रकार टिके टेक्निकल नॉलेज में गुड एक्सपोजर, सेटा बहुत हेल्प करिवो एंट्री पॉइंट रे लेटर ऑन। इंटर्नशिप बहुत पिला एटा को अवॉइड करंती। गेन प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपोजर थ्रू इंटर्नशिप एट बैंक्स और फाइनेंस, इवन रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया रे समर इंटर्नशिप कोर्स अछि। पिला मान को जो माने रिमोट जार जे मु गोटे एक्सपीरियंस करी, मु निजे व्हेन आई वाज हेडिंग आरबीआई, आई वाज chairing that committee to choose students for our internship. केबेले लैंग्वेज टा टिके बारियर कि मोर पर्सनालिटी भलो नै, मु टिके कॉन्फिडेंट फील कोनी, सेतरे रिजेक्टेड हो सेटा भाबिबोनी। इंटर्नशिप बेले हमें देखि दो पिलाटा 3 मास ए खरा तरह बसी 2 मास ए कामटा करियो कि नै, से इंटरव्यू कोर्स तो तार पर्सनली जणा पड़े एंड यू विल बी सरप्राइज। गोटे पिला से इंग्लिश कहि पारलानी, मो संगे जे मु आई वाज चेयरिंग दैट कमिटी, आउ जण जे मेंबर तले से माने आरबीआई ऑल इंडिया कैडर ऑफिसर, से माने ओडिया लैंग्वेज जाननांती। मु कहली से पिलाटे तो ओडिया रे कह, मु तो ट्रांसलेट कर इंग्लिश से बुझाई देली एंड ऑल थ्री ऑफ अस एग्रीड दिस बॉय इज सुटेबल। से एक्चुअली खरा तरह बुलिबा ले से प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट कला। नेवर इंटर्नशिप रे सिलेक्शन हमें सारे देखो एकेडमिक एट्रिब्यूट बा तार मैथमेटिकल एप्टीट्यूड केते के से कामडा से करि परबे नै। इंटर्नशिप ता गोटे भारी रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस। जेमती आरबीआई भी हमर गोटे स्कीम थिला कमर्शियल बैंक ट्रेनिंग, आई ऑप्टेड फॉर इट, आई वाज सिलेक्टेड। मु गोटे वर्ष स्टेट बैंक रे जाके आई स्पेंड सम 48 वीक्स इन स्टेट बैंक टू अंडरस्टैंड कमर्शियल बैंकिंग। ता द्वारा कोन होला, मु निजे निजको निजर ऑफिशियल पोजीशन जाता हो ताको ताटो लोअर लेवल ले एक्चुअल डिस्पेंसिंग काम कली। सेतो मैनुअल सिस्टम थिला, गुडे बेसिक बैंकिंग सिक्योर मदर बहुत साहाय्य कले। सेटा होची मिड कैरियर इंटर्नशिप। बट बिफोर यू चूज अ बैंकिंग एज अ कैरियर यू कैन गो फॉर इंटर्नशिप। बहुत गुडे इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफर करचंती, सेटा तार ट्रैक रेकॉर्ड सेटा कर देले गोटे कॉन्फिडेंस आसीबो जे बैंकिंग माने मु एई बळा गोटे परिवेश रे काम करबी आ एई टर्म गुडा बेसी यूज करबी, एई टाइप रो लोकन से डील करबी। फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन कले हबो बा प्योर कमर्शियल बैंक कले चलिबो। undertake projects related to financial analysis, market research, digital. Most of the time post graduation course बा जो माने MBA course ताकर ଗୋଟେ project ଥାଏ ଆମେ project टा ଟିକେ softer option नहीं जाऊ easy जोटा बा already available literature ता ଭିତରେ बहुत अच्छी बा readily तार किसी outcome विषय बा results Google ले available. Don't go for that. Go for a field project. This should be related to financial analysis, market research or digital banking. If you are continuing as a student आ तमे बैंक परीक्षा टा 2-3 वर्ष परे दबाक चाहूछ ताले in between एई कामटा कर देबा बेटर हो सेटा आउटे तमरो advantage हो सिलेक्शन पे आ गोटे कथा मन रख रिटन ने सिलेक्ट बा क्लियर करिया गोटे जिंस कि इंटरव्यू रे जिंसडा निश्चय गोटे प्लस पॉइंट हिसाब काम करियो दैट शोज यू हैव ऑलरेडी चोजन बैंकिंग एज ए करियर यू हैव लव फॉर इट यू आर कॉम्पिटेंट यू आर इक्विप्ड यू हैव इक्विप्ड योरसेल्फ फॉर दिस जॉब सेटा गोटे इंटरव्यू रे सिलेक्शन पे प्लस पॉइंट हेजो नेचुरली इंटरव्यू बोर्ड एवं यू विल बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन इट आल्सो दे विल बी सैटिस्फाइड कंटीन्यूअस लर्निंग स्टे अपडेटेड एटा जेमति जेकोनसी सिविल सर्विस हो बा जेकोन जॉब पे हमें पढ़िया पड़े what are the banking regulation economic trends technological advancements केबे पूरा जिनसटर बैकग्राउंड बा पूरा टर्म दा दरकार नै एते समय नै हम पाकर जत नो फर्स्ट टाइम गोटे टर्म सुने तार बेसिक पर्सपेक्टिव ता कोन पे सेटा कराई छि तार पर्पस बैंकिंग रेगुलेशंस इकोनॉमिक ट्रेंड्स बा टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट कोन हे छि नो प्रोडक्ट कोन बाहर छि रीड फाइनेंशियल न्यूज़ फॉलो इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स एंड पार्टिसिपेट इन वेबिनार्स अब ऑन एवरेज जेकोन गोटे इकोनॉमिक न्यूज़पेपर प्रतिदिन पढ़िया दरकार सेने से टर्म गुडा पढ़ी पढ़ी से जिनसटा पढ़ी के गोटे जिनस फैमिलियरिटी आस जिवो जत गोटे test nova ba kisi coaching attend karo setme you will find it very easier to follow connect with professionals through LinkedIn or industry events and alumni networks seek mentors who can guide your career trajectory ame jodi gote as a student continue korchu MFil ba research korchu ba gote alga type ro job rochu ba gote immediate family ba personal requirement jo gote लो स्केल जॉब रे लोकल लेवल अच्छो किंतु आमे 3 मास पर बैंकिंग बाय जो इन बिटवीन अलोंग साइड ऑफ इट ए प्रिपरेशन कर देले भलो रिटन क्लियर के हेल्प करियो किंतु बेसी हेल्प करियो इंटरव्यू बोर्ड को कन्विंस करिया पे तो दिस स्टेप्स विल बिल्ड अ रोबस्ट प्रोफाइल एंड प्रिपेयर यू फॉर द चैलेंज एट ऑल दिस स्टेप्स सेटा खाली एंट्री पॉइंट रे हेल्प करियो ने सिलेक्शन में सेटा करियर ग्रोथ रे बा फास्टर ग्रोथ पे बा निजर जॉब सैटिस्फैक्शन पे बा मोर कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द इंस्टीट्यूशन टू द सोसाइटी पे भी हेल्प करियो काना बैंकिंग सिस्टम रे ए एट्रिब्यूट्स का दरकार तो we are just finished 1 hour and 2 minutes I hope I have convinced you पिला माने जे जो परिस्थिति था जदि स्टूडेंट अच्छा एक दूसरे टी मुंडो खेला जदि ऑलरेडी चाकरी करछ कि सेटा टेम्पररी कने हमको साधारणतः जो चाकरी आगम मिलला बा जोतरे हमर लाइवलीहुड सपोर्ट सेटा हम करतो अलोंग साइड दिस हेले सेटा पटे बैंकिंग लाइन गला पर ए चाकरी को स्विच ओवर कला पर एटा उडे अलग प्रकार इट विल ओपन न्यू विस्टास ऑफ लाइफ अलग एवेन्यूज लाइफ रो उडे ग्रोथ बा लार्जर कैनवास ऑफ लाइफ रे निजो आगे आवे बहुत साहाय्य करियो से लक्ष्यटा रखी के आगे चलता एई प्रिपरेशन गुडा कले निश्चय हे जीवो तार आ गोटे भाई मिलते से लेवल को जीवा पूर्व आम लोकल क्लरिकल लेवल अप्लाई करी गोटे किसी दिन 2-3 वर्ष एक्सपीरियंस करके फाउंडेशन ऑफ बैंकिंग जानला पर जाके हम सेठी गले भी किसी क्षति नहीं आम तब निज गोटे अधिक कॉन्फिडेंट में इक्विप करके हम गोटे ऑल इंडिया कैडर जाके अन्य गोटे स्टेट रे भी से कामटा करि परिबा आ बैंकिंग जेमि कहले कंप्यूटेशन जो सिस्टम प्रोसेस सिमिलर banking rules regulations banking is a union subject it is listed in the union list it is a central subject तो जो स्टेट है जो परिसे काम कले बेसिक रूल्स रेगुलेशंस एक्सपेक्टेशंस पॉलिसीज रेगुलेशन इज सेम हमहु सेतर किछ असुविधा होबनी लोकल लेवल ऑल इंडिया कैडर बा लेवल चली गेले किछ असुविधा होबनी तो go ahead get ready and start with a big bang and as you move one thing god forbid जदि बैंकिंग आम सिलेक्ट नहले यही नॉलेज ये चेष्टा गोटे नॉर्मल इंडियन पे सिटीजन में लाइफ रो सब स्टेज रे दरकार हो इट विल नेवर गो वेस्ट ऑल द बेस्ट थैंक्स फॉर योर पेशेंस
तो थैंक यू सर थैंक यू सर आपनकर समय पई आपण एते समय धरी कि हमर लर्नर मान को गाइड कले एंड ए जो वीडियोटा भी YouTube रे अवेलेबल अछि जोटा कि अन्य समय बहुत लोग देखि परिबे आमे जा देखुतलु मोर देन 350 लोग YouTube रे देखुतले एंड 137 सेंटर रे हमर एटा वेबकास्टिंग होतला बहुत लोग हेटे देखिचंदी तेनु आपनकर उपदेश डेफिनेटली समस्त की भल लागितो से माने कार्य क्षेत्र रे लगेबे एवं बैंकिंग गोटे कैरियर हिसाब रे बाछिबे डेफिनेटली सो थैंक यू अगेन सर and best wishes to all the learner who are aspiring for their banking career. Next Saturday 5 p.m. ରୁ 4 p.m. ରୁ 5 p.m. ଆମେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟିଂ ଟପିକ ନେଇକି ଆସିବୁ. ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ରିଲେଟେଡ୍ ଟୁ ଆର୍ଟିଫିସିଆଲ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଡେଫିନେଟଲି. ସୋ ଫର ଦ କେମିତି ଷ୍ଟଡି ପାଇଁ ୟୁଜଫୁଲ ରହିବ ଆମେ ତାର ଆନାଉନ୍ସମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବୁ, ଲିଙ୍କ ସେୟାର କରିବୁ ଆଣ୍ଡ ସେମ୍ OKCL TV ରେ ଆସିକି ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଦେଖିପାରିବେ. ଓକେ, till that time wishing good luck. Thank you. Bye.
It was a wonderful experience for me to share my thought of the report decades all over India.
Thank you, Sushant. It was a wonderful experience to share my thoughts spread over almost 4 decades all over India. I enjoyed sharing this thought for the next generation. All the best for them. And thanks to Odisha Knowledge Corporation Limited for giving me this opportunity. And my special thanks to Madam Hemja who assisted me to prepare this presentation. All the best.